Okay, we're live, everybody. Welcome again to the John Lavinia Success Mastermind General Session for, I believe, the 8th of March already, 2022. We're being joined by our usual wonderful friends in the group, so we can have a discussion, group mastermind discussion today, based on the mastermind concept as explained in Napoleon Hill, among others, whereby we all try and support each other to get forward to our goals and our dreams and inspire each other. Some of us have great days while others are having bad days. So we're all trying to help and push and inspire and encourage. And that's how one reaches goals. And we've learned that through the book club, which, by the way, John is still holding every week. So if anyone watching this wants to join the book club, it's well worth it. It's studying success and mindset texts to give us ideas as to how to make changes in our lives to get towards our goals. Worthwhile sessions. Anyway, housekeeping wise, just before I forget, IVA, of course, IVA Barnabas is on tonight, 5 p.m. Eastern Time US, which is still 10 p.m. in the UK, Corporate Curio. So if anybody can join that session, IVA gives great talks and has a dialogue on management issues, relationship issues, team issues, and business issues, anything really to help us to deal with the things that will confront us in business. And there have been some really great sessions. They're also in the library, recorded, so you can go back and watch them. There are some fantastic hints and tips in those sessions from everybody that joins in. Anyway, today, a great difficulty really speaking, because when I sat down to think about it, it seemed almost wrong to talk about success and motivation, as everything really seems strangely irrelevant given world events and what's unfolding around us, the unthinkable things that we're seeing at the moment every day. But I then thought, well, hang on a minute. I didn't want to make a political talk today, but obviously those world events have played on all our thoughts, and they probably brought into question all our beliefs, our approaches, and what we believed was normal. But at the same time, they immediately told me what was possible. Because when we look at what's happened, we can see suddenly what is possible. And that's why today I wanted to talk about courage and possibility rather than the negative aspects of what is being done. But it's true to say that all our compass points have shifted. Certainly all our landmarks, I think, are now unfamiliar. Our thoughts are out of place. Perhaps you felt that as well. You may want to comment on that in a minute. I certainly felt that way, and my whole psyche has been dominated recently by the dramas we're seeing. And who would have thought that could ever happen really in our time? It caused us to pause and say, well, how have we been living and what have we been doing? But at the same time, what can we draw from this? Perhaps all our priorities are up in the air now, and we can question this jolt that we've been given and look positively and freshly at what we've been doing and what we're seeking to do. So there are various ways we can react to this trauma, this world being turned on its head. Yeah, we can just give up. We can lower our hands. We can feel overwhelmed. I'm sure some people have been. We can feel a sense of loss and sit there and do nothing. Or we can actually adapt and say, no, we're going to face the music, as people right now are doing. We can decide to change things. We can react. We can reprioritize. We can draw from this challenge to our thinking and do something about it. Because we can always draw inspiration from adversity. As many people that we've been watching on the television in the last few days have had to do, who probably never believed they could do it, but they've done it. And they've been called to do it, and they've stood up and done it. And what an inspiration that has been, certainly to me, and I hope to all of you currently, to see just how courageous and resilient people can be in the face of untold challenges and horror that we never thought we'd see. And certainly I'm never going to complain again. How can we really? How can we ever complain again about what's going on around us when we've seen what has happened, when the whole rule book and everything that people thought they had has gone? So in the face of this incredible adversity, this challenge that's been thrown down on the ground like a gauntlet in front of people, brave people, courageous people have stood up. They've shaken off their troubles. They've confronted these massive threats head on, and in some cases with nothing more than their bare hands, and they've reacted. And it really is a lesson, I think, to us all, because in all this security and comfort that we're enjoying, we don't have any real obstacles, do we? This is nothing. What we think is an obstacle is nothing compared, I think, to what is being faced by so many people at this very moment, right now, as we speak. So we owe it to ourselves, I think, and to our communities to stand up equally and push ahead with what we say we're going to do, the changes we say we're going to bring about, and do it with all our energy, because we can, as we've discussed many times, change lives, literally, including our own, but including all those of the people around us, but only if we choose to. As usual, it's a choice. Are we going to make that choice given the inspiration that's being presented to us, or are we going to sink back into our sofa stupor and watch and do nothing? It does take courage, though, and it takes grit, it takes determination, it takes passion, all the things we regularly talk about. And also it takes just not accepting the expected result, the things we expected, even when everyone around us is telling us exactly what's going to happen. Not to accept that expected result takes courage, the kind of courage we're seeing at the moment. Nothing is preordained. The people we're seeing at the moment have said, this is not preordained, we're not letting this happen. We can do the same. And no effort then in pursuit of our goals can possibly be wasted if we have that attitude. So every single check we suffer, every failure along the way should be a learning curve, not thwarting us and stopping us. Everything we get wrong, everything we try is taking us nearer to our aims. And every person that does us wrong along the way is just another test, a test as to whether we can take that setback and that wrong and react positively to it and carry on regardless. Can we do that? Have we got it in us? Look at the people that have shown out of the blue that they have it in them. What an inspiration again that has been. And then we also got to remember that everybody always has an opinion on what we're doing. Right now, commentators all over the world are expressing opinions on what everyone else is doing. And everyone else will always claim to know better than you do, than we do, about the result of what we personally are doing right now. But again, we've just been reminded that result is not, and I say not, preordained. Those people that are making those comments about what we're doing, they don't know any better than we do. They don't determine the result. We determine the result of the outcome. And if enough people stand up and push for that outcome, it will happen. And the outcome that was predicted will be overcome and changed. And we can see that right in front of our eyes right now. So the answer is no. The result, we seek will definitely come. And it may take many tries, but it's going to come. So we can fight for our own dreams too at the same time and never give those up. Why should we? The outcome is never and is not a foregone conclusion that was suddenly somehow set down before we even started. How could that be? Who could know what the outcome was? You know what the outcome was, and you decide it by your own effort, that's for sure. We've got our inner strength always to draw on, as all these poor people at the moment are drawing on this unknown, seemingly unlimited reservoir of strength. We can do the same. We have the strength also of those around us, the families we have, the communities around us, the friends we have. We should never forget them and the strength they bring us. As I've said before, a wonderful quote from Tecumseh, a Native American warrior and leader: a single twig breaks, but the bundle of twigs is strong. And anyone that's ever dealt with twigs will know that that is absolutely true. What a great image that is. And how many times have we seen this being proven again in history? We've seen it countless times, and we're seeing it again right now. People banding together can suddenly take on massive, overwhelming forces and change them and divert them and get a different result. So let's remember always to reach out into those networks we have. We can't do these things alone. We can't get success alone. We can't change things on our own. Let's just ask for help when we need it. Never be too proud to ask for that help. It's amazing what it can do for you when it comes back. But also, we've got to give it back too. We've got to pay it forward. Of course, we mustn't ever forget that. We get help. We have a duty to pay it forward somewhere else. And we must never forget that. So as well as current events really being inspirational and teaching me and teaching us, I think, about the true meaning and power of resilience and resolve, it turns out that the current events for me show us clearly that we cannot waste a moment of this very privileged time that we have, that we've been given. We just can't take anything for granted. We are massively privileged compared to what is happening in front of our eyes. And we have an allotted time on this planet. And what we do with that time, it really does matter. We have an opportunity and a privilege that we've been given. We can't waste it. We have a duty not to waste it. And, you know, many people don't use that allotted time on this planet well, let's face it. And why is that? Why? We all know that time is precious. We all say we value it. We say this time and time again, but still we often fail to use it well. And in the current state of the world, we're reminded that we just can't take that time for granted. It might be taken away from us tomorrow, next week, in a month's time. We have to get on with it. We have to strive for our dreams and our goals, and we have to keep some momentum going. We have to create momentum, get our feet on the ground, try things, do things, start something. So are any of us still hesitating, stalling, putting things off? And if so, why are we doing that? We are holding gold in our hands, gold in the form of golden, safe, protected time in protected countries, protected communities, which right now, millions of other people suddenly do not have anymore. We are protected, we are privileged, and there is no reason, there is no real obstacle compared to what they're facing that we cannot overcome. Nothing. And I'd love to hear your views on that. You might disagree, but we can use our time for great good, for progress, to help others, to cause change, to bring about results. And if we can't do that right now, well, then we're never going to do it. We're never going to do it. Let's just get on with it. We'll never do it if we can't do it right now, given the inspiration to be courageous that we're being presented with. We need to encourage ourselves, in my view, and draw on that well of resolve and courage that we all definitely have. We've all got it. We just sometimes can't be bothered to use it. And when we act, as some are currently acting, with nothing but their bare hands, then that's an inspiration, surely. That tells us what can be done. What more can we ask in terms of being prodded and shoved down the road to actually get on with it? So our hills, we think the hills we're in front of look steep. We think the roads we're looking down might look uneven, but this is nothing compared to what's being faced by some people all over the world, not just in one place, but all over the world right now. So in the communities we're in, we've got nothing to worry about. And if it's taught us anything, I think these terrible weeks have taught us to explore every single uneven road, no matter how uninviting it may look, to climb every steep hill, because we owe it to ourselves and our dreams and our communities and to humanity to go down those roads and climb those hills. They may look uninviting and discouraging, but it can be done. And remember that dreams sit at the top of high mountains, not at the bottom of them. In the valley, we just can't see them and touch them. We know they're there, but we can only imagine them. To actually hold them, we've got to climb the mountain, I'm afraid. And that's where the sleeve rolling up and effort comes in. So standing back again, being inspired or trying to take positives from the current events, in the last few weeks, we've witnessed inhumanity on a scale that's unimaginable, unfairness and injustice. But again, it's always going to be there. It's always been there. We just get comfortable sometimes and forget it. So whether that oppression is coming from a dictator or that unfairness is coming from one of our business competitors or an abusive market controller or a bully in our community, they're always going to be there. So we can't wait for them to disappear. They're never going to disappear. There are always going to be people that want more territory, more market share, more pricing power, more power, or just to dominate people for the sake of it. And what we've seen and what we've learned from these incredibly inspiring people we're seeing every day is that with determination, we can find a way through our problems. And we've seen that firsthand. Those that seek to inflict unfairness and oppression on us and on our dreams rely on us to yield. That is what it's all about. Whether it's a competitor, someone trying to challenge and destroy our business, it's an actual dictator. They need us to yield. That's the job they try and do. They try and overwhelm. And in overwhelming, they hope you will yield. So half the battle is not yielding to suggestion and fear. Because if we do, we've lost before we've even started. Fear of trying, fear of failing, all these things are the same. These are weapons we use against ourselves. That fear of failure, that fear of trying something is ourselves stopping ourselves. It's a weapon we're bashing ourselves over the head with. And let's remember, as Henry Ford said, failure is only the opportunity more intelligently to begin again. There is nothing wrong with having a go. Not yielding to our fears, by not doing that, by identifying our strengths and sticking to them, then the unfair and unjust competitor, the oppressive critic, the bully that we're faced with is then obliged to act. And then they're going to be stretched. And often they don't really want to act. They're just trying to cow us so they don't have to do anything, and they win. Always, therefore, have a go. Maintain your position and go for it. You never know the result. Don't just give up and say, I can't handle this, because that's what they want. So when we're faced with what appears to be an unassailable position, let's look at it carefully. Let's find our niche. Let's go round the side. Let's find another way. Never, ever, of course, face competitors on their own battlefield. Choose our own niche. Find out what we can do well. Choose one that's more balanced in our favor. Remember the walls of Jericho, however strong they appeared to be, however enormous they were, particularly in those times, they fell. And all things eventually change and end. All empires fall, all markets open, all businesses end. We've just got to be there long enough to stick it out to get towards our goals. And these amazing people right now are showing us what can be done when they refuse to accept the result, and they refuse to accept the pressure that's being put their way by somebody that doesn't want the result they're seeking. And remember, Goliath is often very slow on his feet, cumbersome, arrogant, and complacent. Let's study your market, study your niche, study what you're seeking for your life. Don't fixate on what Goliath is doing and that you can't do. Decide what you can do best and do it, because that's how you get forward. That's how we all win and create a better world. And remember also, I think, that tyrants create their own worst enemies. They fear the people they oppress. And I adapted that quote from something that J.K. Rowling said about her books. But you can use the power of oppressive forces stacked against you in your life and let it fuel your efforts, not stop them. And we've also really, I think, learned in the last few weeks that we can all make a difference, however small that may appear to be. Because when we add up those many small efforts into a cooperative whole, then we can move mountains, literally. We can change outcomes, we can change whole directions, we can deliver dreams. So let's be a drop in the ocean. There's nothing wrong with being a drop in the ocean. It's a derogatory term. It's a drop in the ocean. A drop in the ocean really matters. And suddenly we've seen why. Every single small drop in the ocean combined together can create a vast ocean, which can stop something and change something. So let's celebrate being one drop in that vast ocean, because our drop and every other drop makes it, and we can decide what we want that ocean to look like. We really, really can. We're a drop in it. We matter, and we're all connected. And I wanted to leave you on that note before opening the floor with a quote from Robert Kennedy. Quite a long one, but I'll read it out because I think it's worth it. Few will have the greatness to bend history itself, but each of us can work to change a small portion of events. It is from numberless, diverse acts of courage and belief that human history is shaped. Each time a man stands up for an ideal or acts to improve the lot of others, or strikes out against injustice, he sends forth a tiny ripple of hope, and crossing each other from a million different centers of energy and daring, those ripples build a current which can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance. Robert Kennedy. Now, on that note, I would invite you to comment and give me your thoughts, but it's a very stirring and emotional time, but I hope an inspirational one where we know we can suddenly make a difference. That is what we've been taught, in my view. Courage and possibility was what I wanted to talk about today. Thank you. So anyone that wants to come out, you're most welcome. Give us your thoughts.
Bravo.
Hey, Janet.
Hey,
good
bravo.
To see you. I've seen you for a while.
You took something that has been on our minds and on our hearts and turned it to the good. Thank you so much. I really appreciate, I just really appreciate your views, and now you leave me smiling, and that's fabulous, and renewed energy to say, okay, yeah, your little problems aren't so little, you know, they are to you, but hey, you know, and I love the Robert
changed
Kennedy.
about 2 weeks ago.
Sorry?
Oh, hang on, I think there's a mic open. Hang on.
Yeah, yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, she's got it. Yeah, okay, thank you. I think she's got her grandkids. She's
Aha,
listening to.
right. Well, Janet, it's good to hear that you've approached it that way. I did not want to make a political speech today, as one could, but we need to draw lessons from real life. And I think what better lesson could we have been given than waking up in the morning and finding you've got nowhere to live, no breakfast, no possibility, and suddenly you've got to start again. And, you know, it taught me we've got nothing to worry about. We've got no excuses, none at all, really. We can be courageous enough now to get on with it. And let's take this jolt as a reminder of how much time we've got on the planet and what we're going to do with it, because it really does matter. So
well, you did it. And Robert Kennedy's quote as well. That was nice. And I only wrote down a tiny ripple of hope, and I can now go and look it up and get the entire thing.
Yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful quote, and so true. It's the combination of all those ripples. I'll see if I can post it right now. Yeah, I'm going to try and
put it in chat.
I've posted it in the chat,
Okay.
so you can see it. But you know, powerful reminders again. Okay, we're in a different context, but everything is connected, and everything we're doing is connected to possibility and effort and challenges. And we know there are challenges, which is why we have a mastermind group to encourage each other on bad days to rethink and have a go. On your own, it's so easy to get downhearted, drop your hands and say, I can't do this anymore. And that is the power of a group. One drop in the ocean, we're all drops together in our little ocean, which I think is incredibly powerful. So I'd love to hear any of you. And Janet, and so good to see you. I haven't seen you for a while.
I know.
Everyone's looking studious. I was hoping Gail might say something. Lindsay's looking very thoughtful. And I would love to hear all your thoughts on how to face challenges and courage and possibility, or anything else you want to say. Gail.
I'm just in awe of the people in the Ukraine, and even with the Russian people who don't agree with what Putin is doing. And it's just amazing to see. And we can learn a lot of lessons from that, and not to give up and to fight for what you believe in, for what you want to do, even against people that you know who think that what you're doing is crazy. And we can learn a lot from those brave people. So thank you for talking about them today. They are amazing.
I agree. I've never seen anything so amazing, actually. It's so inspirational. And
yeah,
you know, when you look at that level of courage, as you say, on both sides, really, it reminds us that all we're being asked to do is to do a little bit of work and give up some of our free time.
Yeah.
And have a bit of discomfort here and there. That's what we're being asked to do. Well, that's not really a great deal for the results that we're seeking when, you know, we're not being asked to give up everything we have and everything we ever knew. So it's a tremendous reminder and a massive inspiration, I think. It really is.
Yeah, and the bravery of their president and his wife as well. You know, it's just, to me, it's just amazing. It really is.
It is.
Very inspirational.
It is, and it shows us what can be done. The determination and a definite purpose, what can be done is unlimited. We should really never forget that. Perhaps go and look back at all our ideas and our projects and say, actually, this is really doable. Yeah. Nothing really should be able to stop me. And again, reach out into members of the group. If you've got ideas, but you're still confused or diffused on how to do it, there are plenty of people in this group, in the wider Facebook group, the JLSM, who've either done it or know somebody that's done it or might know something about it. So reach out and ask. I mean, you go into that network. Don't do it on your own. Don't sit there thinking, I wish I was doing this. Go and do it. Go and do it. We might not get another chance. You know, we have to go for it. We just never know. And we can't take anything for granted. We have to reach out, get help and get forward. And let's get some feet on the ground. Like, I know there are some people probably still hesitating. This is a big reminder. It really is, I think.
So thank
Anyone
you.
else? Gail, thanks. Anyone else have any thoughts on today. Virginia.
Hey, yes. So as my cat decides to walk across
Great,
my
lovely to see the cat.
little lap tray there. It's amazing to me. This is a great session. Adrian, as always, so much appreciate your insights and your wisdom. And it's almost Tibetan monkish, you know, it's like you have this higher ability to see things clearly. Anyway, I do want to say, and I don't know how to say this, I don't want to sound, I don't want to get into ethnic things or anything, but the world has always had three races, you know, so we had Caucasian and we had the Occidental and we had the Negroid races originally, you know, now they kind of intermingle with, oh, well, what's your race? And they put down, are you Spanish? Are you, I'm like, that's not a race. Okay. So when we look at things happening to people that are not of our cultural or ethnic background, we might have sympathy, we might have empathy, but it's not us. When I look at the pictures of the Ukrainian people, they look just like me, you know, so it makes me think, how can this happen to this group of people? If I passed them on the street, I wouldn't know they were Ukrainian. I would have thought they were just, you know, an American WASP or something, you know. So that brings it more home, more scary for all of us. People in other areas, but I'm always trying to look at the world as a whole and realize the challenges that many third world countries in particular, not that Ukraine is, but other third world countries have and what they're facing. I sponsor 6 kids. I just sent them a springtime card yesterday. And literally, you know, one of them that's 5 years old in Rwanda lives in a dirt floor hut, you know, and I look at things like that and go, oh my gosh, how can I complain about anything? But in Ukraine, you may have heard me mention that I'm studying the Czech language and that my dad was from the former Czechoslovakia. I don't have his birth certificate because probably there wasn't one. It was probably written in a Bible someplace in 1920, you know, but the portion of that used to be the tail end of Czechoslovakia got sucked up by Ukraine. So I don't know that I'll ever be able to go to his village where he was born, as was my intent in the next couple of years with this whole, you know, change in the world structure for Ukraine. And hopefully they will come out of it. But I think too about all those, what they say, 2 million people has been evacuated. That's a whole city of, you know, that's a huge city, couple of cities, you know, where are they going? How, I mean, I know where they're going, but how are those countries going to sustain them? How are they going to be received? And it's really, really, like you say, shocking that this can be happening and not an easy way to stop it. It's not easy to stop a bully of this magnitude on there. So thank you for all of your input and your insight. And yes, we have to look at where we're going with our businesses and you know, move forward, move along as best we can. Thank you.
No, thanks, Virginia. I mean, you know, it's a big lesson, isn't it? As you say, as we say in the UK, not in my backyard. You know, people don't want the wind turbine in their backyard. They don't want the new development anywhere near them. And suddenly we've noticed a conflict because it is in our backyard where we've probably not given sufficient attention to the other places in the world this has already happened. And it seemed a long way away, as you say, and irrelevant and somehow somewhere else. But it isn't. It is right next door always. We are all massively connected, no matter where we came from or how we started or who we are. And it's so easy to forget that. This has been a huge lesson. If we let those memories and those thoughts go, suddenly the world has been changed around us through neglect because we didn't do anything. So not only pursuing our own business goals and our ideals and our dreams, but remembering we've got to pursue them collectively for the whole world and really try and make a difference. because it is down to us. We are the people that allow the wrong people to remain in power. We are the people that vote for the wrong people sometimes. We are the people that encourage the wrong people to do things. It is up to us to really bring people to account and keep checking what they're doing with the privilege of the power they've been given. So that is I didn't want to make a political speech today, and it isn't, but you know, it's a reminder on both sides. Get on with it ourselves, but also keep paying attention to what's being done in our name to other people and what we can do about it, because they should have the opportunity and the hope that we have. That shouldn't be taken away from them either. And that is a responsibility. So as well as pursuing our own goals, that the other side of that coin is making sure someone else has been allowed to pursue theirs. That's very, very important and equally important. Otherwise, we're entirely selfish, and that cannot be right. So today's inspiration was really courage and possibility, but we have to give it to other people too, and let them act freely as we can. That's what I believe anyway. So that was great, Virginia. That's a great reminder of the issues that we've really neglected and the things we've allowed to be brushed under the carpet. Suddenly the reaction is big, and you might say because of where it's happened. And that is wrong. We must never let that happen again. Yeah. Anyway, thoughts today on from anybody on the inspiration we can draw from the courage we've been shown, the possibility of changing results that we've been shown. We can do it. You can always change the outcome. With determination and collective effort, we can change anything. So whatever those dreams are, get them off the paper and put them on the pavement and walk them. Walk them. There is nothing better than the footsteps of the owner of those dreams to make them happen. No one else is going to do it for you, but you've seen what can be done. So massive, massive inspiration and push and a shove, really, I think, to me, certainly. Don't waste any time. Any more thoughts from anybody? Otherwise, we're going to have a shortish session today. But I hope it was inspirational and encouraging, because it's meant to be. And I think it really is. When we look at the other side of what's happening, it's a massive shove and push and inspiration, an energetic bolt of lightning, really, that's been delivered to us in what I certainly would describe as my own complacency, where we go about everyday life and everything sort of works and everything's pretty much okay, and suddenly it isn't. So, you know, it's a jolt. We have been struck by a lightning of realization as to what matters, what our priorities should be, and what we need to think about, in my view. Certainly has been for me anyway. So unless anyone had any further thoughts, I'll just remind us on the housekeeping that IVA is on later on at 5 p.m. Eastern Time US and 10 p.m. in the UK, with a brilliant corporate curio session discussing life and business and management and team relationships and solving problems and the many, many things she so eloquently talks about. Anyone who's seen her knows she's a brilliant speaker and very fluent, with great things to bring to us. So if you can join that session, do. Otherwise, we're back on for the general session tomorrow. So great to see everybody. Any further thoughts? If not, I will close the session and hope to see you all soon. It's lovely to see everybody. Really, just seeing you makes my day whole, and I really mean that. So it's lovely to see you there on Zoom. Thank you. Take care, everybody, and we'll speak very soon.
Bye.
Goodbye for now.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Take care. Take care, everybody. Bye. Bye.